says, let me see again, when we were little, we always used to go to the doctor, and the nurse would measure our height. We would stand on our tippy toes a lot of times, so we want to look like we're taller. So Rabbi Shimon, he said, no, I want to be the tallest. After all the kids got up and measured themselves, he got to be the tallest. What did he do? He jumped up, and he made it look like he was 6 feet tall. See? My head reached where it says 6. I'm 6 feet tall. So no one believed that he's 6 feet tall. You can't, just because you were there for 1 second doesn't mean you're 6 feet tall, right? So therefore, spiritually, the same thing. A lot of times people, they jump up, they go and they say, look what I did, woo! I did this big mitzvah. Look, woo! I went and I did this big prayer, and I did when I came early that time, that day. But what happens? You came to shul one time, and then you didn't see him 5 days. You came to learn one day, you didn't see him 5 days. Just because you jumped one time, you got to the 6 feet part, doesn't mean you're actually that height. You got to be there all the time. It's not just one time thing, you know. So you're going to go and claim you're religious, you know, you're super religious, you're a big tzaddik. Listen, you got to stay there. You can't just jump there, right? So therefore, a lot of times we get a burst of enthusiasm, and then really it's not consistent. The main thing is to be consistent. Like Rabbi Akiva on the rock. It's the drop after drop after drop. That's what really makes the impression. Every once in a while you give a big boost, and you go and you get very excited and you learn and you pray, and then the next few days you're nothing. So you didn't really make an impression. It didn't really go inside. It was just on the outside. It doesn't mean, it says mi aleh mehar kocho, right? And it says mi yakum, who will stay? Who will stay in Hashem? It's nice. It's easy to climb Mount Hashem. Question is, can you stay there? The winds are very strong over there. Who can stay on the Har Hashem, right? So therefore, we need to make sure that we go up, but we don't fall down. Some people have holes in their observance of mitzvot. The Gemara says, if a person reads Shema every day, but skipped one time, the Gemara says, you read Shema every day, but you skip one day. One day you skip, you said, you know what? It's fine, I won't read today. And what happens? The Gemara says, it's as if he never read Shema in his life. Why is that? How could it be such a statement? One time I said, Achai, not today. And all those thousands of times, it's as if I never read Shema. So why? So you have to understand. What is Shema? Shema is accepting Hashem's kingship. And the reward for doing this consistently is Olam Haba. If you skipped one time, you still will get reward for what you did, but it's as if you never really accepted Hashem's kingship. Hashem's kingship is something that you don't just throw away. You're a servant to the king. You go to the king, you say, today, I don't want to be your servant today. Today I'm having a day off. What are you talking about? You're not a servant to the king. You don't really care about me. So how can you go and say today yes, tomorrow no? So therefore, a person has to make sure to be consistent. There's a story of a guy named Baruch. He ordered a nice suit from an expert Italian tailor. So Baruch Hashem, he went, they told him pick a fabric, picked it, they took his measurements. After many, many days, they told him it's ready. He comes to pick it up. He says that he sees a small hole over here by the front of the jacket. He says, what is this? I'm not going to pay you any money. He says, listen, 90% of the jacket you have, so 95% of the jacket you have, so pay. What's the big deal? 5% is missing. What's the big deal? What do you mean? You can't wear this suit like this. This is not a suit. This is not a finished product. So the same thing. A person can say, Rabbi, 90% I'm there. 90% I do, you know. So I understand, but that 5%, you can't wear it like that. That's not called being religious. You got to be ad sof, all the way. Rabbi, we keep what we can keep, slowly, slowly, day by day, right? Okay, I hear you. Maybe if you're in the beginning stages, once you're religious many years already, how long are you going to say day by day? How long are you going to say slowly, slowly? How long are you going to still not keep this one, not keep that, not keep this? Oh, it's hard for me, ani magu. A lot of times we tell ourselves, like the elephant, then when there's a baby, the circus, they tie his leg with a rope, and he can't break the rope. Even when he's at 3 tons and he's bigger, in his mind he thinks he can't break the rope, so therefore they tie him with a rope and he still stays. He doesn't run away ever. Because in his mind he thinks, yani magu, yani magu. So a person when he's beginning stages, he never pushed himself to learn, never pushed himself to pray every day. So even when he's many years religious, he thinks, yani magu, the kids, I can't wake up early, the this, the that. Person has to know that you can't tell yourself all your life, yani magu. You have to start pushing, you have to start keeping everything, and you have to know if Hashem commanded us in it, it means we're able to do it. He created us. He knows what's built inside of us. Like a person who creates a product, he knows what's capable, what's not capable. He can't sell you something and says, yeah, it's going to tell you the weather for the next few days and it has no weather app. He would never do that. Hashem knows all the updates and apps and all the things that we have inside of ourselves, has the ability to do all the mitzvot that Hashem commands us. So therefore, a person has to avoid making a hole in his Judaism. He has to make sure that it's even if a person says, oh, it's only one time. The person says, don't worry. Okay, so you do murder. It's only one time. One time you do murder. What's the big deal? It's a big deal. What do you mean? Of course, each time it's just once. Don't give in to that Yitzhara. A lot of times people, they do mitzvot correctly and wholeheartedly for a while. They start going to shiur, they start going to pray, they come for Shabbat, they invite guests for Shabbat, and then they get tired. They go up and then they go down. They say, I need a break, leave me alone, I can't. In Parashat Ekev, the Torah says, Im tishmeru, if you obey, if you will keep my mitzvot, right? It doesn't say if, it says Ekev tishmeru, right? So Ekev is also related to the word ikve. Ikve, akavi, la'akov al mishu. In Hebrew, when you say la'akov al mishu, it means to follow them, to be consistent behind them. So therefore, that's how we have to keep the mitzvot, is that every single time to be consistent, la'akov, after HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to fulfill it, and to keep going. So then, interestingly, he brings over here, we know that Yosef HaTzadik was thrown into the dungeon, in a pit, without windows, without a bathroom. 3 days in the dungeon, a person will go out of his mind, commit suicide. Yosef spent 12 years in there, and he was happy. How do we know he was happy? The Vilna Gaon says, 10 years in the dungeon, Yosef interpreted the dream of the Paro and his servants, right, with Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh, the Gaon Vilna says, one of the conditions to have Ruach HaKodesh is to be happy, right? It's to have happiness. When a tzaddik is sad, his Ruach HaKodesh left him. We know Yaakov Avinu, he was mourning his son 22 years. So therefore, all those years, what happened? He didn't have any Ruach HaKodesh. He lost his Ruach HaKodesh. That's how he didn't know if he was alive or not. He was sad. So therefore, what do we see? That these people, no matter how bad their life was, no matter what they went through, they were consistent. They were always with their emunah. No matter what, I'm with Hashem. And to the point, 20, so many years into the dungeon, he still had Ruach HaKodesh. You understand? So that's how the tzaddikim were. Always consistent. They didn't have the bad days, they had the good days. They did, but they didn't let it get to them. Because the person has to know, I'm with Hashem, whether I like it or not, because I'm a servant to the Melech Malchei HaMelechim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.